Well, at least it can't get any worse. Huh, psych.
You're Locked On Devils, your daily podcast on the New Jersey Devils.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
This is Locked On Devils, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the number one sports podcast network in the world. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The wild card round is here, and FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. So visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. My name is Zach Berman. I'm the host of Locked On Devils, and this is a podcast about the New Jersey Devils, who might be the worst team in the National Hockey League right now. Well, the worst team coming in was the Winnipeg Jets. The New Jersey Devils lost to the Winnipeg Jets today. 4-3 in regulation. And as the trash fire keeps on burning, Tom Fitzgerald is nowhere to be found except for Pierre LeBrun's DMs. Dougie Hamilton is a healthy scratch. There is a $9 million albatross that is not playing on the roster. Every time you think it can't get worse, it does. There are some quotes that I'm mad about. There's some performance that I'm mad about. Everything is awful. The sky is not just falling. The Devils are 1 point out of last place in the East. This team was in first in the East on Thanksgiving night. I think, and like I said, I think that this team has always been incredibly flawed. And I had them as a bubble team coming in. But the speed in which this has happened has just been completely mind-boggling. Like, this has gone from, okay, it's a tad frustrating. Jack is hurt. Markstrom's bad. But they'll probably figure it out. They'll probably at least get into the playoffs to blow the roster up, blow the front office up, blow the coaching staff up. Everything's a disaster. Nobody deserves to keep their jobs. Like the speed in which this has happened, where now they're 6-14-1 in their last 21. I've never seen a swifter collapse in my lifetime. Like, this is a team that started off 8-1 out of the gate. And I know there are fans that are like, oh, well, back in late October, when they'd lose a game and look bad and people would panic, and I'd panic, and they'd be like, oh, well, why are you panicking over this team's? There's a reason why this team never earned my trust, to say the least. When you're a Devils fan, you're always kind of waiting on the other shoe to drop. And the shoe's done a lot more than just drop, to put it bluntly. Like, what more is there to say? They've given up the first goal, what is it, like 25 times in 40-something games now? I guess we'll start there. The Devils have given up the first goal of the game 27 times in 45 games. This is the culmination of every bad thing this organization has done. It's been like every season, there's always been one thing that has been like the calling card of bad Devils hockey. You got the can't score thing from last year. You got the bad goaltending from 23-24. You have the first goal against, giving up every game like 23-24. It's just like a hellish mishmash of everything bad that we've experienced as Devils fans over the last 10 years or so, just rolled into one nightmare season. Jake Allen started today. Today was the first game of a back-to-back. And he gave up 4 goals on his first 16 shots. when one thing works, the Devils find a way to score 3 goals. Something else fails. It's always something. And I'm at the point where I'm not sitting here and trying to be popular. I'm not trying to make friends. I'm not trying to stay in good graces. This is how I truly feel right now. There's not a single player on this roster that is not expendable. I'm sorry. Like, did you watch this team today? When they scored, and they actually scored 3 whole goals on the opposing team's net, nobody was happy. Nobody was celebrating. They don't care. This team has completely quit on the head coach. And I'm not saying that Sheldon Keefe is perfect. I'm not saying that he's the right coach for this team. I'd be furious if he's fired before the GM is. But at this point, the team has completely tuned him out. And it's shocking. It's upsetting. The effort is just gone. It's one gigantic circle of suck. That's how I described it on Locked On NHL. You'll see me on there tomorrow. It's one gigantic circle of suck. The owners don't care that the GM is completely butchering the organization. The GM has not given the team the right roster to work with, has not given the coach the right roster to work with. The coach is not running the right system. Whether that's his call or not remains to be seen. The players are tuning out the coach, and the players just don't care. And that's all cycling back to Tom Fitzgerald. It is astounding. And I've said this so many times, I don't care how repetitive I'm going to be, because I'm going to hammer it home until the deed is done. It is utterly astounding that Tom Fitzgerald still has a job. It is one of the most pathetic things I've ever seen an NHL team pull. This team lost 9-0 less than a week ago. And you keep the head coach? You keep the GM? It is just, it boggles the mind how low the standards have gotten. And I'm saying the same thing every night. I'm furious. This is what the end game was? This is what we sat through a big, arduous rebuild for? I'm devastated. I'm devastated. I'm angry. I hate that I'm still angry, because angry implies that I still care, and I wish I didn't care. I'm heartbroken. I'm so sad that my view of Devils hockey is, once again, the games are not really worth being emotionally invested in. I hit the moment last year, honestly, when Jack went down against Vegas, that this team just was not worth pouring your emotional investment into. This core, and the core. I'm tired of hearing that word, man. Core's a bunch of losers, a bunch of losing players. All this team knows how to do is lose, and they're damn good at it. And as a hockey fan, I'm just tired of losing. But I don't get the sense that this organization is. I don't get the sense the roster is. There is no accountability. No accountability for poor play. No accountability for poor management decisions. No accountability for poor coaching decisions. Nobody gets held accountable. And that leads me, because I could recap the game. They lost. Who cares? what bothers me, and Simone Nemec is someone who I believe is the future of this team. I believe Simone Nemec is a guy you build around. And unfortunately, we have a GM in place where everything he touches turns to crap. This is what Tom Fitzgerald said in the wake of J.P. Barry's, aka Dougie Hamilton's agent, comments. So we'll work backwards. We'll get to the Hamilton stuff in a bit. As you know, we just put Nemec back in the lineup on Thursday. He's a young guy who we want getting his game back, where he'd easily been our best defenseman before his injury. No, he hadn't. Well, guess what? Like I said, everything Fitzgerald touches turns to crap. Nemec has an own goal, has the worst game of his season today. Yeah, sounds about right. This is simply Dougie being the odd man out with where our right side is, fully healthy for the first time all year. This is business of our lineup. Business should mean you being on the unemployment line, Mr. Fitzgerald. Now, granted, yes. Oh, how could I forget? Jonathan Kovacevic is back. And credit to him, he actually did look pretty good today. Had an assist, should have had 2. Nice to have him back. And I'm happy for him, because rehabbing off a torn ACL is not easy. I am happy for Jonathan Kovacevic. It's one of the few things right now that I am happy about. And even that, I'm like, he's making how much? For how much longer? Dennis Cholowski he was waived. He's now back in Utica. Utica is a dumpster fire. I get the sense, because I'm being told right now that, and granted, I've been told things before this season where all of a sudden things have fallen through. It seems like Dougie Hamilton and Andre Palat are both going to be off the team in the coming weeks. Is it enough to save the season? Probably not. But Tom Fitzgerald is doing something. Is it enough? Probably not. But he's doing something. Now, why this couldn't be done earlier, why this couldn't be done in the offseason, why it couldn't be done last season, I don't understand. I'm not going to try and understand it. What I do understand is that things have gotten really ugly really quickly with Dougie Hamilton, and that bothers me. That really, really bothers me, how the Hamilton stuff has been handled, why he has been forced into the role he's been forced into. And likely this is how his time as a New Jersey Devil is going to end. And he's going to be remembered, perhaps unfairly, as the guy that wouldn't waive his no trade clause, which is his right, and ultimately was a big part of the New Jersey Devils not getting Quinn Hughes. But that is unfortunately what I think a lot of people are going to remember. But we're going to take a quick break. When we return, we'll talk the Dougie stuff and I guess continue to mourn what our favorite hockey team has become on Locked On Devils. Today's episode is brought to you by the lovely folks at Factor. New year, big goals, and somehow even less time to cook. If you're trying to eat better but don't want to spend hours grocery shopping or meal prepping, Factor makes it easy. These are fully prepared meals designed by dietitians and crafted by chefs, so you can eat well without all the work. Factor meals are made with quality, functional ingredients, lean proteins to colorful veggies, whole foods, and healthy fats. No refined sugars, no artificial sweeteners, no refined seed oils. Just real food that fits your goals, whether it's eating healthier, managing calories, or getting more protein. Meals are always fresh, never frozen. They're ready about 2 minutes, no prep, no stress, and it honestly makes sticking to your goals so much easier because the food is already done for you. Head to factormeals.com/LockedOnNHL 50 off and use code LockedOnNHL 50 off to get 50% off your first Factor box plus free breakfast for 1 whole year. What a deal! That is factormeals.com. LockedOnNHL 50 off. Code LockedOnNHL 50 off. Make healthy eating easier with Factor. Let's talk Dougie Hamilton. Oh boy, we got to talk Dougie Hamilton. I don't know if we're ever going to see Dougie Hamilton play another game in a Devils uniform, and that makes me sad because Dougie Hamilton, when he was healthy, was pretty damn fun to watch as a Devil. And I hate that this is ending the way it is, even though his play offensively has been to be desired. And yes, he was paid a lot to be a New Jersey Devil, but he still chose to be a New Jersey Devil. And that's something that I hope is not forgotten. But Pierre LeBrun reached out to Dougie Hamilton's agent, J.P. Barry, over the weekend, and his response, Dougie was informed today that he will not be playing now that Kovacevic is back in the lineup. In our view, this decision is all about business rather than his game right now. Singling him out seems very calculated at this stage, yada, yada, yada. 10 tree. Good God, this team is making me slip all over my words. 10-team no trade list. There have been efforts to trade him going back to the draft last year. So Dougie's camp will be willing to be flexible beyond a 10-team trade list if it means finding a suitable team in a trade. He had shot down a trade to San Jose in the not-too-distant past. I believe that was the trade over the summer. I had heard 2 second-round picks would be going back to New Jersey. Just an ugly end and another ridiculous botching by Tom Fitzgerald. That's really all it is. Because not only that, now you're pissing off CAA, and CAA represents the Hughes brothers. They represent some of the best players in the National Hockey League. Totally someone you want to piss off. And Tom Fitzgerald did that, and I am frustrated. I think we could see a Dougie trade in the coming days. That also means that Tom Fitzgerald executes that trade, so I don't know. Like, I've heard that things have been close over this course of time, whether it be trades, whether it be firings, and this is like not like hearsay. I've heard these things from people that I trust. I'm obviously not going to name names. And that, it's all just, it's a cluster right now. That's really all it is. I'm frustrated. I'm angry. I'm sad. Like, I've been patient. We've been waiting for this group to really pop, and it's the Hockey Hindenburg. Dead on arrival. And it's... I feel like the fan base cares way more about actually winning than ownership does, and that is like the worst place to be in if you're a sports fan. The fact that you have beat writers calling out the GM every day, requesting to speak to the GM every day, and the GM is going out of his way to make sure that he does not speak to the media here in New Jersey is pathetic, and it is cowardly. Like, this isn't going to be anything horrific from the media. People just want to ask him, why was the Markstrom extension announced when it was? Why was it forced through when it was? Why have you not been able to clear cap? Why did the Quinn Hughes trade pursuit fall through? That's all people want to know. I don't think these are attacks. I think these are completely rational questions, and I think it is cowardly that Tom Fitzgerald has been dodging New Jersey media while going to a major league reporter where the league. I'm so frustrated that it's gotten to this point. I'm so frustrated that he still has a job and has this level of job security to muck up what we as fans have waited a decade plus for. That everything we've waited for has just been completely ruined. I'm disgusted by it. And you should be too. And today was a terrible loss. I'm recording this when it's 11:12 at night. And I'm sure they'll find a way to outdo it tomorrow. And I'll come back here and I'll sit here and I will talk about it tomorrow. Because that's what we do here on Locked On Devils. Rain or shine, baby. No matter how bad things get, I'll be here. Jack Hughes might not be here. I'll be here. This is a pretty dark time to be a New Jersey Devils fan. But you guys are awesome for sticking with me. You guys are awesome for sticking with me, and I hope we see something turn around. I don't know if it's going to be this season, but we'll have a pretty packed week this week. Minnesota game tomorrow, Hughes Bowl, Kraken game on Wednesday. We got a guest coming Thursday, which I'm excited for. Mr. JP Gambatese. Big Devils Twitter account. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right, JP, but excited to have you on either way. It's going to be eventful. I don't know if it's going to be good eventful or bad eventful, but it's always eventful here on Locked On Devils. And with that, today's episode is also brought to you by our new friends at Quo. New ad read. Woo! New year, new systems. This is the time where a lot of us look at the messier parts of how we run our business and think there has to be a better way. Devils, yeah. And there is. Streamlining your communications or firing your general manager is one of the quickest upgrades you can make. That's why today's episode is brought to you by Quo, spelled Quo, the smarter way to run your business communications. Because when your team is reachable, organized, and communicating in one place, you're not just working cleaner, you're creating more opportunities to connect with customers. I love how simple Quo makes everything. Your whole team can call and text from one shared business number so nothing gets missed. Everyone sees the full conversation thread, which makes replies faster and more personal. Works right from your computer or phone. You can even keep your existing number. It is no surprise that Quo is the #1 business phone system on G2, trusted by over 90,000 businesses, from solo operators to growing teams. Make this the year where no opportunity and no customer slips away. Try Quo for free, plus 20% off your first 6 months. So when you go to quo.com/LockedOnNHL, that's QUO.com/LockedOnNHL. Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers. Well, unless you're Tom Fitzgerald and your phone ain't working,